Thank you, Gargi. Good evening to viewers in India. This is Ankit Singh. We are coming to you live from Tel Aviv at this moment. First night where I can tell you that I got some sleep and so did the entire population of Israel. No missile attacks after 12 days, and there has been considerable, at least the ceasefire which seemed fragile. It has held so far almost for 24 hours now. I'm coming to you at this moment from Tel Aviv. This is the promenade just near the beach, and today the city, in fact right from the evening yesterday, is out in full force. Remember, till 8 p.m. yesterday, the Home Front Command had made some restrictions. People could not go out. They were not allowed for large gatherings. There were also restrictions on school, colleges, and workplaces. All those restrictions have been lifted, and it more or less seems like any normal day here in Tel Aviv, where school, colleges, schools, and offices are open. People in large number out on the beach enjoying the sun after 12 stressful days of strikes, counter strikes, when this war which went on for the last 12 days. Now, yesterday, remember, ladies and gentlemen, it was President Donald Trump who had to come out in full force, ask both Jerusalem and Tehran not to continue exchanging missiles and bombs after the ceasefire came into effect. This 12-day war, what Mr. Donald Trump has been referring to, was more or less overshadowing the NATO summit which he is at this moment at. And in the summit, Donald Trump was seen basking in the glory, saying that it was his intervention which ended the 12-day war, and also the attack that America conducted on the nuclear facilities of Iran that crippled Iran's capability of weaponizing the uranium that they have. Donald Trump also, in fact, saying that he kept the promise that he had made to the people of America, that he is going to be the one who will end wars, not get America into new ones. At this moment, Donald Trump almost making sure that he reaps the political benefits of this truce, which at this moment is holding between Iran and Israel.
How long do you think that the Iranian nuclear program has been put back by these strikes? Years or totally obliterated?
I think basically decades, because I don't think they'll ever do it again. I just don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to take their oil, they're going to have some missiles, and they'll have some defense. I think they've had it. I mean, they just went through hell. I think they've had it. The last thing they want to do is enrich. They've been trying to do it. By the way, it's hard to enrich. And, when you look at a site like that, very, very hard to build, very, very hard, very expensive. They spent trillions of dollars trying to do this thing, and they didn't come up with it. That hit ended the war. I don't want to use an example of Hiroshima. I don't want to use an example of Nagasaki. But that was essentially the same thing. That ended that war. This ended that with the war. Afterwards, they said it's so devastated, and they settled when they saw what we did to it. And frankly, if we didn't do that, they would have had a lot of ammunition to keep going. They wouldn't have settled. Somebody brought that up, and 2 Iranians went down to see it, and they called back and they said, this place is gone. So it's just fake news by CNN, which has got no ratings. It's a failed network. Anybody here from CNN, by the way? Because you're a really disgraceful network. MSNBC, I think, is actually worse. They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like 2 kids in a schoolyard. They fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes, then it's easier to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language to
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while, you have to use a certain word.
All right, that was Donald Trump, the president of the United States. Amazing the way, a president, a person of his stature, the kind of statement that he made. In fact, yesterday going on to even using some profanities on air while describing the situation which was developing here. Now, but, for Donald Trump, possibly the biggest shot in arm would be a Nobel Peace Prize. And that is something that many would think that he's aiming for as his long-lasting legacy. That Barack Obama was given the Nobel Peace Prize. Why administration, Donald Trump. At least that is what the Republicans believe. And he has actually been nominated for the 2026 Nobel Peace Prize for brokering a ceasefire deal between Israel and Iran. The nomination was submitted by Republican Congressman Buddy Carter, and he credits Trump with playing an extraordinary historic role in halting a rapidly escalating conflict in the Middle East. In a formal letter to the Norwegian Nobel Committee, Representative Carter wrote President Trump's influence was instrumental in forging a swift agreement that many believed was impossible. The Georgia lawmaker praised Trump's leadership in de-escalating what could have become a full-scale regional war, adding that such a breakthrough demands both courage and clarity. Meanwhile, the former defense minister of Israel has in fact apologized for the civilian casualties in Tehran. Like I've been noticing here, the focus, of course, both in Israel and Iran has been on the civilian casualties, both accusing each other of conducting strikes on civilian areas. I have been for the last 3 days in Tel Aviv and around the areas which were targeted by the Iranian missiles. Many of them, of course, landing in high-density civilian areas. The one that landed yesterday also causing deaths of 4 Israelis and injuries to 5 others. But at this moment, we are also seeing that the former Israeli minister has apologized for the deaths which have taken place in the 12-day ongoing crisis, civilian deaths in Iran. Let me go across at this moment to try and get a sense of what has been achieved and what's the way forward from Israeli point of view. I'm being joined by Lev Eren, Israeli journalist and columnist. Thank you so much, Lev. Pleasure to speak to you again from your own country at this moment. In Tel Aviv, where I'm standing, right now, it's almost that if somebody comes in today, they would not know what happened, how stressful the last 12 days were. Business is back to normal. People are out in full strength on the beach and the promenade. There is a sense of relief as far as the people are concerned, Lev. What is your understanding of what has been achieved in the last 12 days?
First of all, thank you for having me. And of course, Tel Aviv and the other cities in Israel are more hectic than usually because after 12 days that were nightmarish for many people in Israel, now people can go out, children go to school, to kindergartens and so on. And in a way, unlike the situation in Gaza, Israelis actually believe this ceasefire, thanks to Donald Trump, thanks to the non-appetite of Iran to start a war again, and also thanks to the fact that Israel has to comply to what America says. Okay, Israel is not fully independent in this sense. Israel wanted to keep it, and we were scolded by Donald Trump. So Israelis actually believe that this is like the end of the conflict.
Right. Let me then understand this from you, the second part of it. How does this, at this moment, reflect on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu? Because yesterday I was watching some visuals on local television after the ceasefire announcement. He was in Jerusalem meeting people, and many of them were cheering him on, asking him to call for early elections because they believe his popularity has increased. He has had a difficult time since 2023, even before that. How much of an impact has this campaign been on his political capital?
So, of course, his Likud party is more popular than before. But what most pollsters show is that the big chunk of the Likud, they're not gaining that much. It means that if tomorrow we have elections, still Netanyahu is losing the elections, at least as far as pollsters are concerned. So I'm not sure Netanyahu will decide that the elections will be very soon. It is like too risky for him. And also the ultimatum of Donald Trump was a bit humiliating for Israelis. So as far as Netanyahu is concerned, he will think twice before he announces new elections.
Very quickly, in conclusion, let me ask you this. This conflict
All right, we seem to have lost the line there with my colleague Ankit, who was reporting from Tel Aviv. But let's also talk about what's happening in Iran. And Iran's parliament has voted near unanimously to fast-track a bill that could end cooperation with the IAEA, that's the UN's nuclear watchdog. This follows the fragile ceasefire with Israel. And if successful, this legislation could then severely limit external oversight of Iran's nuclear program. Let's just listen in. And we're joined by Hassan Zedi, a journalist from Tehran. Thank you so much for joining us here on NDTV. If you could tell us more about this move to limit the access that IAEA has.
Thank you for having me. And I wanted to say that, unfortunately, Mr. Rafael Grossi, the head of IAEA, he several times he had leaked all the information and from Iran and provided it to United States and especially to Israel, and there are evidences of this. So even all the nuclear scientists which were killed by the Israeli regime in Tehran and other cities of Iran were connected to United States through the same information which was gained by Mr. Grossi. So this time Iran is very serious, and it had threatened the IAEA, this UN body, that it will have consequences if you continue threatening Iran with different things. Like this last time, Mr. Grossi said, we want to know and we must know where is the location of the enriched uranium which Iran has hidden from the so-called inspectors of IAEA. And Iran had informed them that we are not going to inform you about all those things. And even Mr.
Zedi, do you not feel this will isolate Iran further? There will be, more of this, sense of distrust when it comes to Iran if you block out the IAEA?
Unfortunately, IAEA has given, Iran has always been respectful to the laws, to NPT. It has been a signatory to the NPT, but it has not gained nothing. It had enjoyed all the limits, but enjoyed nothing of the facilities the IAEA had to give to Iran. So they had to consider this and these things. And Iran was furious for the past 2 years, 3 years, when the pressure was building up on Iran. And they said that we're taking action against you, especially the meeting of Board of Governors just a few days before Iran was attacked showed that they don't want to cooperate with Iran, and they are just asking for cooperation from Iranian side. So how can this continue on for a long time? And all the information which was given to the IAEA by Iran, it was provided to the United States, and they wanted to bomb it. Even the foreign minister of Russia, Mr. Lavrov, today he said that all the information had been transferred to the Israelis so they can easily target the Iranian nuclear sites, and they did so. And next time, Iran was sure it was going to happen again, and maybe it could become a disaster, because if they know the location of the enriched uranium, then a havoc could be created across Iran and also across the Western Asia.
Now, Hassan Zedi, it's been, 1 day of this tense calm, after the uneasy truce that has taken place. Donald Trump once again doubling down on his claims of setting back Iran's nuclear program by decades. He said, I'm joined in studio by my science editor, Pallav Bagla, who would also like to pose a question to you. Go ahead, Pallav.
Hassan, thank you very much for speaking to us. Two quick points. I have reported IAEA for a long time. I have reported nuclear issues for a very long time. So is Iran planning to walk out of the nuclear non-proliferation treaty? And if it walks out, is Iran wanting to become a renegade state like North Korea? Because North Korea signed the NPT and walked out. And we see what is the development status of North Korea. Is Iran ready to face that consequences?
Well, Iran is seeing that the countries which has not signed the this NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty, are enjoying all the facilities the world is giving to them, while Iran, who is a signatory to this treaty, is having only the limits. Iran this time, Iran's parliament said that tangible guarantees must be given to Iran regarding this issue, that Iran's like all these informations which you know very well, which are given to the IAEA, do not end up in the hands of the Israelis, Iran's enemies, and United States, so they cannot bomb Iran again. So if there are tangible guarantees, then Iran will not leave. But at the time, it has only stopped working with IAEA and decided to do so. And next time, I don't know exactly what will going to happen. And in my opinion, there will be problems in the future if the same thing is going on. But I think this time it will be Iran is playing safe.
All right. Well, my colleague Ankit is back with us from Tel Aviv. Ankit, over to you.
Well, thank you, Gargi. It was, we lost that connection in between at this moment. But like you were speaking to Mr. Zedi, I have been speaking to him. This is peculiar about any war where each side hopes at least that they can go back to their domestic audience and give a sense of victory. Of course, yesterday, just before the ceasefire came into effect, we saw the kind of barrage of missiles that came in from Iran hit many residential areas here. But like I was saying, if somebody comes in today, to Tel Aviv, they possibly won't know that, this is the same city which was, let me just show you around, for the last 12 days suffering, one after another with the massive barrage of missiles. The people are out in full force here on this beach, on the promenade. The restaurants which were shut till yesterday are all open. It's been 12 days that, your advisory was to be near shelter. We also experienced it firsthand when many times, we had to run to the shelter because of the air raid sirens which were going on. And at least at this moment, after 12 days, people are enjoying the sunshine here in Tel Aviv. But with also a question, and I want to show some of these posters to our viewers. These are the people, those who are still hostage in Gaza. And the question that the Israelis are asking at this moment is, one conflict is over, when are all these hostages coming back, and when are the conflict with Gaza, when is it going to end? So that's in fact the mood here in Tel Aviv. But very quickly, like I said, like there is normalcy coming back here in Tel Aviv, celebrations in Iran as well, people celebrating what they believe has been their victory.
از شأن ملت ایران به طور تمام قد دفاع کنم. من برای همین امروز اینجا اومدم. دلیل نداشت امروز بیام. فقط اومدم بگم که اون چی که فرماندهی کل قوا میفرمایند ما میگیم اطاعت. هر چی که هست ما حمایت میکنیم. برای حمایت اومدم.
All right, that's all the time that we have in this special broadcast, which is coming to you from Tel Aviv.